What's up, DC Nation? I'm back on here with another crow. So, congratulations to Cowboys Crusader and his Cowboys for beating the Redskins. We now fall to 0-2 with 14 games left in the season. We're now on a 3-game losing streak. And so, next week, we got to go to East Rutherford to play the Giants, and I'm not looking forward to that matchup whatsoever at all. All right, now, the stats in the game, our offense definitely got better this week than it did last week. Same thing with our defense, but regardless, we still lost. Last week, we scored 16 points. This week, we were able to score 23 points. Last week, our defense gave up 30-something points, 38 I think it was. And this week, our defense gave up 23. So I figured we were going to win this game because last week we were coming off of an emotional loss. Well, both of us were, but we just lost Monday Night Football in front of the whole world. So you would think that the Redskins would come out and win this game. But no, they didn't. Cowboys came out and won the game for the 4th year in a row. This is the 4th year in a row they've beat us at our stadium, and it's really starting to piss me off. Cousins didn't look quite as accurate as he did last week. He did better in passing. He had 364 yards along with a touchdown, but also he had an interception at the worst time in the game. He had an interception in the end zone, and that's what gave the game away pretty much. And then the fumble the Cowboys had, we kicked a field goal. If we could have scored a touchdown off of that, we could have walked away with a 7-point victory. We would have won the game 34-27, but that's not what happened. And, everybody's probably praising Dak Prescott, and they're saying he's a good quarterback. In my opinion, the guy's overrated. I mean, yeah, he had almost 300 yards, and, he had a touchdown. But in my opinion, Dak Prescott is an overrated quarterback. I don't think he did that good, in my opinion. We had a hard time stopping Ezekiel Elliott. And then some of the Redskin fans on Facebook were blaming the loss about Alfred Morris was the reason why we lost the game. Morris didn't do shit. Yeah, he had a touchdown. They snuck him in there to make it look, like that we let Alfred Morris go and it was a bad decision. I mean, in my opinion, I'm glad we got rid of Morris. Like I said in the last video, he only gave us 1 touchdown last year, so Morris didn't do shit. Matt Jones is getting better, but he still didn't have that good of a rushing game. He ran for 61 yards, and he did have a touchdown. At least he's not fumbling the football. We definitely need to get this run game going. Dez Bryant actually showed up. He had over 100 receiving yards. We couldn't stop Dez Bryant. We couldn't stop Cole Beasley. Jason Witten had a decent game. And, so yeah, the receivers were just, we couldn't stop them. As for our receivers, Deshaun Jackson was pretty much a joke. He went from 108 receiving yards last week to only 40. That is a huge decrease. Big time. I mean, Jordan Reed was all right. He was the best receiver we had this week. He had 70 yards. Chris Thompson was all right. He had 57. Josh Doxson did better. He only had 9 last week. He had 57, so Josh Doxson's getting better. Vernon Davis needs to improve. He had 51. Jamison Crowder had 39 yards with a touchdown. Niles Paul had 16 yards. Ryan Grant had 5 yards. But anyway, so you look at those stats. Our stats weren't that bad, and to lose a game to a rivalry game, it hurts. It really does. Losing to the Steelers on Monday night, was understandable. But once you lose to the Cowboys, man, that's unacceptable. We got to win rivalry games like this. You can't expect to win the division, and you can't even beat the worst team in the NFC last year. It's just not going to happen. You know, our schedule is hard as shit now, and now that I've seen what we've done in the past 2 games, which is pretty much nothing, we're going to have a hard time this year. This is going to be a hard year for us unless we can turn this around. I mean, like I said, next week we got to go to East Rutherford. We haven't beaten the Giants on the road since 2011. And then next week we got to play the Browns, who RG3 is not even going to be playing. Josh McCown's going to be playing. The Browns are much better of a team with him as quarterback than RG3. Then we got to go to Baltimore to play the Ravens in just a few weeks, and they're undefeated. Then we got to play the Eagles, who are probably still going to be undefeated after tonight. And then we got to play the Lions, who are still looking pretty good. And then we got to play the Bengals, who, if we're lucky, we can beat them. They have an emotional win against the Jets, and then they have an emotional loss against the Steelers. So, and then the Vikings, you know, they got Sam Bradford, and possibly Adrian Peterson might return. I don't know what's going to happen after his injury. And then the Packers, don't expect us to get revenge on that playoff loss unless we can turn this around. We might start off the season 0-10 before we get a win. The next win we could get, the first win of the season, might be on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, unless we can turn this around. Other than that, we're done. You know, I'm not even going to make a video next week trash talking about the Giants because I'm not looking forward to this matchup. This is going to be a hard matchup. I know it is. You know, the Giants are undefeated and we're winless. You know, they're 2-0. We're 0-2. So now you're thinking, you know, after next week, the Giants could be 3-0. We could be 0-3. I mean, I haven't lost faith in Cousins yet, but I am starting to get there. I mean, if it's his rookie year, I can understand him being shakeable or something like that. But this is his 5th year with the team. He's got to get his shit together. Otherwise, we're not going to go nowhere with this guy. And his ass is going to go bye-bye just like RG3 is. And then Colt McCoy will be starting. And given time, Colt McCoy probably could be a decent quarterback. And then I haven't really seen enough out of Nate Sudfeld. So that's what the deal is with our quarterbacks. Haven't lost faith in Cousins yet. Colt McCoy, I kind of prefer if we start Colt McCoy next week, but I know it's not going to happen. There's still 14 games left in the season. If we can beat the Giants next week, maybe we can get this thing turned around. Maybe, because then we'll have a shot at beating the Browns the following week. I mean, if the Redskins beat the Giants, thank the Lord. But if we don't, it won't surprise me, especially after this loss. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. I'll see you guys next Monday after the Redskins-Giants game. Peace out, DC Nation.